Hey, Captain Herzon back, and I'm going to talk about the types of criminal homicide in the U.S. Definition: death is the responsibility of another person. Each state has their own classifications of homicide, but they're categorized into three different types: murder, manslaughter, and justifiable homicide. The homicide types include murder. Um, in in many states, they could have as many as three different types of murder. There's first degree murder, which involves premeditation. Second degree murder, no premeditation, but intent is present. So there's evidence of a low regard for human life and a desire to cause pain or injury. This is known as malice. Felony murder occurs during the act of another felony, such as a robbery. For instance, um, there someone breaks into a home with the intent of stealing, but is surprised by the homeowner, and a struggle ensues, and um, the perpetrator ends up killing the homeowner. This would be classified as a felony murder. Note that determining the type of murder is up to the criminal justice system or the Office of the Attorney General, and not the medical examiner, forensic pathologist, or coroner. Maybe you've heard of capital murder. Uh, Capital murder is first degree murder that can result in the death penalty. So it's a little bit more egregious than just first degree murder. The state has to have a capital punishment law, and often the crime has to have exceptional circumstances surrounding it. Usually it's the murder of a police officer, a firefighter, or a governmental a worker. Maryland, D.C., and Virginia have legislatively abolished capital punishment and have replaced it with a life sentencing with no probability, or I should say, possibility of parole. Manslaughter. Got to keep myself moving around here. Definition is unlawful death of another person without malice. According to the criminal code in Maryland, there are two different types. Voluntary manslaughter is a crime that occurs without malice, but there is intent of doing physical harm, which is provoked by a physical confrontation. Involuntary manslaughter, this occurs without malice or intent, but negligence is a factor. Driving under the influence, and then striking a pedestrian is an example of involuntary manslaughter. Okay, and again, it's up to the criminal justice system or the attorney general to make the decision of whether to charge someone with manslaughter as well as murder. Justifiable homicide. This is a situation in which a murder is committed in self defense. Okay? This is really not a legal charge, but rather a classification that police can use in the event where an individual died but no crime was committed, or as a defense in a homicide prosecution. Because the killing was justifiable, the person who committed the killing will not be held criminally liable for the death, though civil penalties may still apply under certain circumstances. Thank you, and we'll talk again.